All right, testing. All right, recording. All right, Title 5, Amendments to the Internal Revenue Code 1996, Section 501. Short title. This title may be cited Superfund Recovery Revenue Act, Superfund Revenue Act, Part 1, Superfund and its revenue sources. Section 511, Extension Environmental Tax, and General Subsection D with the Section 4611, the Internal Revenue Code 1996, relating to determination of amendment of the REIT of the application tax in general, except the provided paragraph 2 with the 3. Tax imposed with the section shall apply with December 31st, 1986 before January 1st, 1992. No tax on unobligated balances to exceed $3.5 million December 31st, 1989, December 31st, 1990. As obligated balance as a substance of Superfund exceeds $3.5 million. The Secretary of the Consolation Ministry of the Environmental Protection Agency that determines whether the unobligated has determined that Superfund will exceed $3.5 billion December 31st, 1991, respectively no tax imposed under Section 599A of Section 4661, 4671. There's no tax should be imposed under Section 1990, 1991. In the case may be no tax amount with a collectively exceed $6.65 billion. Estimated Secretary of each of the quarter of the edge of the other time Secretary determines appropriate shall make the estimated amount of the tax which collectively under 59 of the section 4661, 4671 with connected credited with the head of substance Superfund during the period of January 1st, 1987 and ending with December 31st, 1991. Termination of $6.65 billion created before January 1st, 1992. The Secretary estimated with a subparagraph A more than 6.5 will be credited with the fund with January 1st, 1992. No tax shall be imposed in the section after the date of which is estimated the Secretary $6.5 billion with accreditation of the fund. Technical amendment Section 303 of the Comprehensive Response Compensation Liability Act of 1980 hereby repealed. Effective date of the amendments made in the section shall be taken effect January 1st, 1987. Increase the tax on petroleum. In general, subsection A of the B with the section 4611 of the Internal Revenue Code 1986 with the relating environmental tax with petroleum each of the men with the striking out of 0.79% of 0.79 cents per barrel, with inserting in lieu of the rate specified in subsection C. Increase the tax 46 and 11. So COVID is amended and redesignating subsection C and D with the section D and E with the respectively inserting after subsection B of the following new subsection. Rate of tax in general, except for the providing paragraph 2 of the rate of the tax imposed in section 8.2 cents per barrel. Imported petroleum product, the rate of the tax imposed with subsection A2 will be 11.7 cents per barrel. Allowance over the credit of the crude oil with the return to the pipeline, section 4612 of the section of the code, relating to definitions and special rules of the amendment with the redesignation subsection C and the subsection D of the inserting with the subsection B of the following new section credited where the crude oil returned with the pipeline under regulations prescribed in the Secretary offered by the United States refineries. Remove the crude oil from the pipeline, return with a portion of the crude oil with the stream other the crude oil, same pipeline. There should be all credited against the tax imposed with the section 4611 and such for the operator. Amount of the equal product of the rate of the tax imposed in 4611 crude oil shall be removed. Such operated number of the barrel of the crude oil returned by such of the operator such of the pipeline crude oil returned such of the purpose of the subchapter of the crude oil with no tax has been imposed with 4611. Effective date of the amendment is made with the section for taking effect with the January 1st. 1986. Section 512 change with the relating of the tax on certain chemicals. Increase the rate of the tax of xylene. The table of contained with the subsection B with the 4661 Internal Revenue Code 1986 with the relating of the tax on certain chemicals as amended with the adding there of the new sentences. For period of 1992, items relating to xylene with receiving the table should exceed the substituting 10.13 exemption of the report expired for the tax table chemical with section 46062 the judge code with the related definition special rules amended the redesignation subsection E and subsection F by inserting after selection of the new section exemption for the export taxable chemicals. Tax resale and no tax shall be imposed under section 4661 on sale of the manufacturer producer of the taxable chemical for export with the relief of the pressure of the secondary person for export. Proof of the export required rules similar to rules of the section 42021B shall apply for the purpose of the paragraph A. Credited refund and tax paid in general, with the except the providing paragraph B with the tax under 4661 paid respectful to taxable chemicals and such chemical was exported by any person. Such chemical was the material of the manufactured production substance which was exported by any person which at the time of the export of the taxable substance is defined in section 46072 credit with the refund without interest or tax for the level of made with the person who is to pay tax conditional allowed with no credit return the file allowed made under subparagraph A unless the person who has made with the tax establishes he has repaid or agreed to pay the amount of the tax person export of the taxable chemical taxable substance has obtained the written consent with the site of the export allowing with the credit for the making of the refund regulation secretary prescribed the regulation may necessary care of the purpose of subsection paragraph 1 of the section 46062 of the such code relating to refund credited certain uses amended and striking out of the sale by which such person may be taxable under section inserting lieu with the there of the taxable chemical by striking out and both such sections and other sections substances manufactured produced the insert with lieu with thereof the insert imposed in such section and other substances manufactured produced with which would have been imposed with such section and any other substance but subsection B and E of the section special rule with the asylum subsection B with the 4662 the scope starts with the exemption other special rules amended adding their paragraph 6 following new paragraph special rules asylum except in case of the substance imported in the United States from the United States from the asylum does not include the separated with the isomers of the asylum except with the certain related recycled chemicals section B with the 4662 such chemicals related with the exemption are the special rules amended with the adding of the paragraph 7 of the following new paragraph. Are recycled chromium and cobalt nickel in general with no tax show imposed with the intersection of the chromium cobalt nickel with diverted and recovered in the United States with any solid waste part with the recycling part not as part of the original manufactured production profit exemption not applied with the corrective action and complete in subparagraph A but it shall not apply during any of the period required corrective action by the taxpayer unit with the recycling with the uncompleted with the required corrective action for the purpose of subparagraph B with the required corrective action should be retrieved with this uncompleted during the period and begin with the date of the corrective action required by the administrator or authorized state pursuant to the final permit under section 3005 of the solid waste disposal final order of section 3004-3008 of such act and final order of section 106 with the comprehensive environmental response Compensation Liability Act 1980 any of the day of the administrator such for the state within the name of the case may be certified by the secretary such corrective action has been completed. Special rule for groundwater treatment in the cause of the corrective action requiring groundwater treatment such for the treatment complete with the close of the 10-year period being the day of the such for the action required with the treatment comply with the period with the other order applicable to subparagraph C1 of the throughout the section of the preceding substance shall see for the beginning of the day with the such treatment of the comply with the permanent order solid weight for the purpose of the paragraph of the solid weight meaning the given term of the section 1004 of solid waste disposal except for the terms include the product and co-product of the waste for any of the process smelting, refining, or otherwise extracting any metal. Exemption of the animal feed substance, general subsection B of the 4662 of the code of the exemption with the special rules amendment. The adding of this paragraph 8 with the following new paragraph substance for the production of animal feed in general with the case of the nitric acid, sulfuric acid, ammonia, methane to produce ammonia. With qualified animal feed substance, no taxes shall be imposed with section 4661 qualified animal feed substance for the purpose of the section qualified animal feed substance that means any substance used with the qualified animal feed for the manufacturer, producer, importer, sold for use with any of the purchase qualified animal feed, so use sold for the resale for the purchase for the use of the resale, ultimate use of the qualified animal feed use, qualified animal feed with the qualified animal feed use made with the manufacturer production animal feed supplement ingredients annual feed supplements taxation non-qualified sales use for purposes of the section 4661A with the no tax imposed with the section with the sale of the chemical with the reason the subparagraph A with the first person who sell with the use of the chemical with the other shall be described in subparagraph A with shall be true the manufacturer such chemical to refund with the credit with the substance used in the production of the animal feed section D46062 the code relating to the refund with the credit for the respect with tax with a certain chemical with the name of the adding and the end of there of the following new paragraph used in the production of animal feed under the regulation prescribed secretary with the tax under 4661 method of the respect with the nitric acid, sulfuric acid, ammonia, and methane used to produce the ammonia without regard to the subsection B9. Any person using the substance qualified animal feeds substance with the amount with the equal to accept the tax paid over the tax is determined in regard to the subsection B9 with allowed with the credit with the refund without interest such for the person in the same manner without overpayment of tax imposed with the section C exchange with the taxpayer not treated in the sale of section C with the Ward 662 chef's codes relating to use of the manufacturer created amending reads follows. Use certain exchange with the manufacturer such as either the trade with the sale of the provided subsection B and E with the person manufacturer produced the imports and taxable chemical with the use of the chemical with such person liable under the paragraph 46061 such man with the chemicals were sold in person. Special rule of the inventory exchange in general except the line paragraph in this case the manufacturer produced the importer of the taxable chemical exchange with the chemicals as part of the inventory change to any other person. Such exchange is not treated on sale. Such for the other person, such for the process of the 46661, treated with the manufacturer produced the import with the chemical with the registration requirement. So paragraph A shall not apply with the inventory exchange list. Both of the parties register with them. The second secretary of the manufacturer producer the imported taxable chemical with the person with the receipt of the taxable chemicals has such a time the secretary prescribed the notified of the manufacturer producer the importer such the person registration number the Internal Revenue Code's defect district which such person register the inventory exchange with the purpose of the paragraph of the inventory exchange mean with the exchange with the two persons exchange with the property with which is in the hand with each of the person property described in section 1221. Special rules relating hydrocarbon streams contaminating organic taxable chemical substance can be 46462 the goes relating with the exemption special rules amended with the adding and the after Paragraph 2B9 of the following new paragraph. 10. Hydrogen carbon stream contaminated mixture with organic toxical chemical. Generally, no tax should be imposed under Section 46061. Any of the organic to any of the organic tax chemical with the chemicals part of the intermediate hydrocarbon stream contamination mixture organic taxable chemicals. Removal of tax treated as you for the purpose of the inorganic taxable chemical with no tax for the imposed the reason for the paragraph A with the isolate with the extracted, otherwise remove with the C for the part of the intermediate hydrocarbon stream. And such isolation, extraction, removal with the cessation, with the treatment of the value of the event, with the such person shall be treated with the manufacturer of the chemical registration requirements of paragraph A shall not apply with any with the immediate hydrocarbon restoration requirements of clause 1 and 2 with the subsection C2B are made or satisfied. Organic taxable chemical for the purpose of the paragraph taxable organic chemical to mean any taxable chemical organic substance. Are your effective dates in general, except for the otherwise provided in the subsection amendment in the section of the effect of the January 1st, 1986, with the repeal of the taxes island theory therefore October 1st, 1985, with the refund and tax probably imposed with the general and keep the tax imposed with the 466-1 internal revenue code 1954 on the sale of the youth tax island October 1st, 1985, shall include with the interest adding tax additions of the tax and additional amounts shall not be assessed. And this assessment shall be abated with the collected should be credited with the refund with interest over the play with the condition and allowance with the clause with the one shall not apply with the Italian uses over the person but before the clause with the liable to tax imposed section 460-61 such sales meet with the requirements similar with the requirements of paragraph 1 of section 464-16A should for the code for the purpose of receiving the section sent with the paragraph A with the 64-16A with the of the code shall be applied with the regarding material perceived and not collected. B. Waiver statute of limitation. In order the date of the enactment of any time of this act within any time of the 1 year after the date of the enactment, refund credit of the overpayment the result of the applications paragraph that is barred in any law with the rule of law. Refund credit overpayment is shall never allowed to allow with the claim there is filed before date 1 of the year after the date of the enactment of this. Xylene include the isomers purpose of the paragraph of the xylene shall include any isomers as xylene whether or not separated inventory exchanges. In general, except the otherwise provided with the paragraph of the amendment, the subsection after shall be applied with the include the amendments of the made with the section 211 with the habit of the Substance Response Revenue Act of 1980. Recipient must agree with the treatment of the manufacturer and capable of the inventory exchange with the January 1st, 1986. With the amendment may be subsection after the applied with the person receiving the chemical from the manufacturer produced the import of the exchange with the treatment of the manufacturer produced the importer chemical for the purpose of the subchapter B, chapter 18 internal revenue code 1954 exemption for the manufacturer fee for the tax for the with the environment inventory exchange with the January 1st, 1987. With the amendment that may be the subsection after that shall not apply with the manufacturer produced the importer treated. Such exchange sale for the purpose of 4661 such code with the pay with the taxes may be by subsection. Registration requirements 4662 G2 with the such code with the as subsection after shall apply with the exchange with the after December 31st, 1986 with the exported tactical substance subcode for the 2 with the 4662 E2A through with the such code with the as with the section shall not apply with the E4 with any of the taxable substance defined in section 4672A of the Such Code January 1st, 1989. Sales of an intermediate hydrocarbon stream with except the otherwise provided the paragraph amendment that may be subsection 2 with the include with the amendment of the subsection 2 of the Hazardous Substance Response Revenue Act of 1980. The purchase must agree with the treatment of the manufacturing capable of the manufacturer before January 1st, 1980 with the intermediate hydrocarbons or with the amendment that may be subject to apply only if the purchaser agree with the to be transferred manufacturer produce the import of the suburbs with the subchapter B with the 38 with the internal of the code with exception with the manufacturer pays half if the case of the January 1st, 1980 with the intermediate hydrocarbon stream with the amendment the sale may be subsection G with the shall not apply with the manufacturer produce the importer such stream the bay the tax imposed with the 466-1 with respect to the sale of the taxable chemical in the such stream the registration of the 466-2 BC B10 C with the code that is added with the section G shall apply with the exchange of December 31st, 1986. All right, section 5514, repeal of the post-closure tax and trust fund. Repeal the tax subchapter C with the 38 with the internal revenue code of 1986 relating with the tax have the substance hereby repeal with the table over the subchapter of the chapter 838 with the striking out of the item relating to subchapter C with the repeal of the trust fund section 232 that has the substance response revenue acted with 1980 hereby repealed. Effective date in general and amendments made only in the section shall take effect after January 1st, 1983. Waiver of statute limitation on the date of the enactment of the act any time within 1 year after the date of the enactment, refund of the credit of the overpayment that the tax result of the application of the section is barred on the law with the rule of refund with the credit of such overpayment payment shall nevertheless made to allow the claim, therefore it's before the date of the first and for date 1 year after the enactment of this act. Section 515, tax on chemical, certain imported substances from taxable chemicals. General, Chapter 38, Internal Revenue Code 1986 has been adding subchapter B with a new subchapter subpart C. Tax on certain imported substances. 461, imposition tax. 462, definition special rules. Section 467, 4671, imposition tax. Generally, there must be imposed tax on any of the taxable substance of the unit imported thereafter. Amount of the tax in general is provided in paragraph 2 with the amount of the tax imposed with the subsection A, the respect with the taxable substance, the amount of the tax that would be impaired with the section 4661 taxable chemical use of the manufactured production, except for the substance of the taxable chemical that has been sold in the United States for use of the production of taxable substance. The rate wherever the importer does not furnish for the information secretary importer does not furnish for the secretary such as the time such the secretary shall prescribe the sufficient information to determine the paragraph 1 of the amount of the tax imposed with the subsection A of the taxable substance for the amount of the tax imposed with the substance of the 5% of the appraised value of the substance time of the such for the substance was entered within the United States with the consumption with use of the warehousing authority with the prescribed rate of the lieu in paragraph 2 with the paragraph 2 rate with the prescribed with the taxable substance with the tax of the prescribed and with lieu with the tax specified in paragraph 2 with the respect to the substance the tax prescribed the secretary shall be able to amount with which would be made imposed with the subsection A with the respect for the taxable substance if the substance was produced using a predominant method of production of the substance. Consumption of substance tax under section 4611 and 4661 non-tax would be in the section of the sale of any substance is imposed on the sale of the under section 4611 and 4661. Tax for free sale. Tax free sale of the substance used within certain fuels or production of the life of the animal food. Rules for the following rules shall apply with the purpose of applying with the section with respect to the taxable substance with the use and use described in the section of the paragraphs 2, 5, and 9 and Section 4662 relating to tax-free sale of the chemicals used in the fuel and production of the life of the animal food. Paragraph 2, 3, and 4 of the 4662D relating to the refund critical credit with tax certain chemical with the use of the fuel and the production for the life of the animal food. Determination no tax shall impose under the section during any of the period with no tax imposed within 4611A. 4672 the definition of special rules. Taxable substance for the purpose of the taxable substance meaning the substance of the time is able to import by the importer of the list of the tax of the secretary for the purpose of the subject returning substance on the list of the shall be listed in paragraph 1 and substance contained in the list in paragraph 3. Secretary to determine the consolation of the Administrative Environmental Protection Agency consumer for the customs of the taxable chemical of the constitute with the 50% of the weight of the material used with the limitation to run a for the predominant method of the production and then show the list for the taxable substances. Alright, modification list to the list in general, the secretary made it add substance with the remove the substance list to paragraph 3 with include with the list of the reference in paragraph 2 with the necessary for the care of the purpose of the subchapter authority with the substance based on the value of the secretary may be the extent of the necessary for the care of the purpose of the subchapter any substance listed in paragraph 2 3 with the substance described in paragraph 2b with the value of the substitute with the weight therein. Other definition for the purpose of the subchapter imported with the importer meaning with the person entering the taxable substance for the consumption for the use of the warehouse taxable chemicals in the United States with the taxable chemical the United States have with respect to the meaning of the given inside of the term by section 460-62A the disposition of revenue from Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands the provision subsection A4 and B3 with the section 7652 should not apply to any of the taxes imposed on 4671 commercial clerical amendment the table of subchapter chapter with the 38 the instant code amendment with the adding and the item relating to subchapter B with the following item the effective date of the amendments made by the section shall be in taken effect for January 1st, 1989. Studying in general, the Secretary of the Treasury with the delegate with the conduct with the study of the issues relating to the implementation tax and imposed with the section 4671 Internal Revenue Code 1986 with the adding to the section of the credit report for the taxable substance 4661E2A1 to such code conducting the Secretary of Treasury delegate with the consult of the Environmental Protection Agency Internal Trade Commission before the report of the study in paragraph 1 shall submit to no later than January 1st, 1980 with the commitment the ways of the meeting for the House of Representatives of the Committee with the Finance of the same and 516 environmental tax on general subchapter A of the chapter 1 Internal Revenue Code 1986 relating to the income tax amendment adding the end thereof the new part. Alright, part 7 you'd have environmental tax.